My ex knew things. He shouldn't have. The first message from my ex came 3 weeks after we broke up. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't angry. It just said, "You shouldn't walk home alone this late." The strange part was, I hadn't told anyone I was walking home. Daniel and I had been together for almost 3 years. When we broke up, it was quiet and mutual. No drama, no screaming, no threats. Just two people realizing the relationship wasn't working anymore. At least, that's what I thought. I ignored the message. I assumed he was just trying to start a conversation again. But the next night, something strange happened. I was leaving the grocery store when my phone buzzed again. Another text from the same unknown number. This time it said, "You forgot to lock your car." I stopped walking immediately. Slowly, I turned around and looked at my car in the parking lot. The driver's door was slightly open. My stomach dropped. I looked around the parking lot. There were maybe 5 other cars, and a single person standing near the far corner of the lot, just standing there, watching. I got into my car quickly and drove home. 10 minutes later, another message appeared. "You should really be more careful." At that point, I blocked the number. For 2 days, everything was quiet. Then the messages started again. But this time, they were different. They described things happening inside my apartment. One message said, "You should close your curtains." Another said, "Your living room light is still on." That was when I started to panic. I lived on the 3rd floor. There was no way anyone could see inside from the street. I walked around my apartment, checking every window. Everything looked normal. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. The next morning, I went to work and told a coworker about the messages. She asked the question I had been avoiding. "Do you think it's Daniel?" I didn't want to believe that, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Daniel had always been a little controlling. He liked knowing where I was, who I was with, what I was doing. I tried calling him that night. He didn't answer. Instead, I got another message. "I miss watching you sleep." My hands started shaking. That message came at 2:13 a.m. I had just woken up from a nightmare, which meant someone knew exactly when I woke up. That was the moment I realized something was very wrong. The next evening, I asked my landlord if the building cameras worked. He checked the system and told me something strange. The hallway camera outside my apartment had stopped working 4 days earlier. The same day the messages started. 2 nights later, I was brushing my teeth when I heard a quiet sound. A knock. But not on the door, on the window. I slowly walked into the living room. The curtains were closed, but behind them, I could see the faint outline of someone standing outside. 3 floors up, on the small fire escape outside my window. My heart was pounding so hard, I could hear it. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message. "Don't be scared." I grabbed the curtain and pulled it open. For just a second, I saw a face in the darkness, and even though it was only for a moment, I knew exactly who it was. Daniel. He climbed down the fire escape before the police arrived. They caught him 2 days later. When they searched his car, they found binoculars, a camera, and a small notebook. Inside the notebook were pages filled with notes about me, my schedule, what time I left for work, when I turned the lights off, when I went to sleep. But the last entry in the notebook was the thing that scared me the most. It was written the night he was arrested. And it said, "Tonight, I finally go inside.
I should have known something was wrong, even before we met. I downloaded the dating app out of pure boredom. No hopes, no expectations, just something to pass the time. A couple of days later, he messaged me. His name was Mark. Normal profile, a few photos, a short bio. Nothing stood out. We texted for a few days. Everything felt ordinary. Until he wrote, "You usually get home around 6, don't you?" My heart skipped. I had never told him where I worked, never mentioned my schedule. Not a word. I typed back, "How do you know that?" He answered, "Sometimes people reveal more than they realize, especially when they think they're alone." A chill ran through me, but I told myself it was nothing, just a lucky guess. We agreed to meet at a small coffee shop downtown. He was already there, sitting by the window. When I walked in, he smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. It felt like he had been waiting for me for a very long time. We talked for a bit, movies, work, safe topics. Then he said, so casually, "You run in a park near Maple Street in the evenings, in those grey leggings." Everything inside me froze. That park is 2 minutes from my apartment. I had never told anyone about my runs there. Not in the app, not anywhere. My voice trembled when I asked, "How do you know that?" He just shrugged, still smiling. People rarely look up when they walk home, but I always look up. I stood up. My legs felt weak. "I have to go," I said. He didn't try to stop me. He just whispered as I turned away, "See you soon. At your place." When I got to my car, there was an envelope under the wiper. Inside, a photo of my bedroom, at night. Me, asleep, curtains closed. On the back, in black marker, "Nice place. I'll come inside soon." I blocked him immediately, deleted the app, changed the locks, installed a camera in the hallway, started sleeping with every light on. For 1 whole week, nothing happened. I almost convinced myself it was over. Then, one night, I woke to footsteps right outside my door. They stopped, exactly in front of my apartment. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. "Unknown number. You woke up at 2:14. Like always, I can hear you breathing." I crept to the door and looked through the peephole. There he was. Mark, standing inches from my door, staring straight into the lens, smiling. I called the police, hands shaking. They came fast, but he was gone. The hallway camera showed him standing there for nearly 10 minutes, just staring. Then he took out his phone and dialed my number. The officer looked at me with pity. "There is no Mark, no records, no account in the app. You never matched. He shouldn't have been able to message you at all." I whispered, "Then who was at my door?" He didn't answer, just said he knew your number by heart. After that, I stopped going out alone. I stopped sleeping properly. I stopped turning lights on at night, terrified he would know exactly where I was hiding. Then he came inside. It was 2 weeks later. I woke up because the air felt wrong, heavy. The door was locked, windows shut. The camera showed nothing, but he was already in the room. He did what he came to do. I screamed. I fought with everything I had. But he knew me. Every flinch, every sob, every breath. He whispered things no one should know. How I cry quietly after showers, how I whisper to myself in the dark, how nightmares wake me at the same hour every night. He said I belonged to him from the first reply, that I had let him in. When it was over, he left. I stayed curled in the dark, shaking, covered in his scent and his secrets about me. That was the night I stopped being afraid and started wanting him gone forever. For 2 weeks I barely ate. barely slept. I just planned, obsessively, how to find him, how to end it. Then I found the key. It must have fallen from his pocket that night. A simple key labelled Basement 17. I traced the address using grainy footage from a neighbour's camera. They had caught his car once. I went there alone, at night. The basement door was unlocked. He was asleep on a filthy mattress. The walls were covered with my face. My things. My hair in plastic bags. Pieces of my life he had collected like trophies. I saw the knife next to him. I picked it up. My hands didn't shake anymore. He opened his eyes, smiled that same smile. "I knew you'd come," he said softly. "I always knew." I struck, again, and again, until the smile was gone. I called the police myself, told them everything. "I killed the man who destroyed me. Please come." They gave me life, no parole. I've been in the cell for 3 months, and every night, at exactly 2:14, something appears on the wall, written in red. "You thought you killed me. I knew your address before we met, and I'm already inside."